General Assembly is going to be.
What's that? Say again?
I wonder where the General Assembly is going to be. It's a good day for photography, bro.
And that's what we need. We need grit. We have to be willing to stress ourselves to get our best we can.
Haven't we suffered enough, though? Haven't we suffered enough?
This is only the beginning. We have to have grit.
It's going to get worse if we don't do nothing, if we sit and be complacent, if we're iPod in, smartphone down, Twittered up. Okay, so what? So what? That doesn't do nothing but occupy us and make us content in the best that we are in now.
Man,
Much of the things that are going on now are because of public discussion. It's not loving your neighbors. Unjust, usury.
I'm kind of depressed now.
Talks about greed. I'm out here for Jesus. We, those who are born again, yes.
Have you is John still around? Okay. He's gonna come over and tell you.
Well, sign seemed a little cliche as I was walking around taping everything, and then I came across this guy's sign.
I like your sign. I came over to
Turned
ask
out to
you a
be
question
a
about it.
most
Yeah,
interesting
so,
person I've
I
met
don't
in a
know.
very
Just
long
go.
time.
Just go with it.
Go at it.
Yeah.
Pretty much over the past however many months, I've just really been studying the laws that this country was really founded
As have
on.
I. Yeah.
And really, like, you see the American flag up there, but if it's got a gold fringe around it, that's the Maritime Admiralty flag. The Maritime Admiralty flag is on the uniforms of all police officers. It's on
in the court systems, right?
It's in every courtroom.
Yep. Is it in the Federal Reserve? Probably even, huh?
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't doubt. I don't know. I'm just speculating. But.
Any of these police officers' uniforms, they all have the flag with the gold fringe around it.
Yep.
Really, I'm just trying to get the word out and inform people that our country is still a colony of the British Empire.
Yep.
We are still under the jurisdiction of Magna Carta, and they try to force their Maritime Admiralty laws upon us, which Maritime Admiralty is only has jurisdiction on open water. We are under the jurisdiction of Magna Carta, the law of the land, Holy Vatican canon law.
Yes.
And I'm just trying to really inform people of that they have no jurisdiction over us. We give them that power. You don't even have to stop and listen to a cop if they try to stop and talk to you. You can walk away and not say a word to them. They have no authority over us.
Which you're protected, your rights since the 1200s and the Magna Carta come from your creator. 1215, dude.
I don't care if they forced him to sign it or not. Damn, he signed it. The entire system needs to be redone.
Are you in support then of a full ousting of the Federal Reserve?
Absolutely.
Monetary freedom to the people? Oh boy.
I'm down for a complete revolution. Have a president at the top and his group of people, or we have a choice between him or the other group of people. Either way, they're all gonna screw us. No single group should have any type of power like that. They say that we elect people into office and they come together and we tell them what decisions to make. But most of them are probably members of Freemasonic temples, really. My brother's a Freemason, and my sister's in the Order of the Eastern Star.
What are their views on the banking system? Are they for the Federal Reserve System, or is that not an issue? Are they in it to make decisions behind closed doors? Do you believe? Or
I talked to them about it, and they're just like, oh, that's how the country is. That's how it's supposed to be.
It's always been that way. So they'd rather join the machine than be a wrench in the system, is what you're saying.
They're already a part of the system,
right?
In the Freemasonic temple.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they'd rather be a part of it and help support the terrorism against us instead of trying to change it and actually better the community. And I don't understand that, but I mean, my brother told me that, you know, all the judges are in Freemasonic temples.
Yep.
He's told me about
Every president.
a lot of illegal activities that go on. They bring in stuff from Cuba like it's a regular thing, you know?
Yep.
They break the laws openly, and because they're in the secret societies, they have to show respect to each other, and they have to help each other out in any way.
They do the handshakes and everything.
Handshakes, hand signals. Actually, there was a story I read about just last week. Somebody who was a sign language instructor was in a courtroom and noticed a lawyer and the judge making Freemasonic hand signs back and forth. I think on DavidIke.com.
Okay.
I go on there a lot.
Yep.
I go on VigilantCitizen.com,
Yep.
InfoWars, Prison Planet.
Yep, yep.
I check it every day. You know, especially leading up to this day.
All the fraudulent debt, 90% of it we know isn't coming from the people itself. It's coming from the derivatives that our government backs, especially when it bails out banks and prints trillions and trillions of dollars. They estimate that there's upwards of $1 quadrillion floating around the global banking system of derivatives. What do you think about steps that we can take in order to gain actual control of the people and their will, and take it away from the people that are making the decisions behind closed doors? I believe I approach this always as an economic issue. It's how I'm looking at it all the time. You may approach it with a different framework. You know, what do you see? What do you believe that we could be doing?
I think people need to grow some balls, read up on the laws that run this country, realize that their federal income tax is stealing. It was never ratified. The country needs to stop selling all of its gold to China because we have no gold left. The Federal Reserve has no gold. It's all sold off into
Do you believe that Fort Knox is empty, and that's why when Congressman Ron Paul proposes the bill that every congressman should be able to go once to go to Fort Knox, that bill can't even pass Congress?
Absolutely.
Isn't that tricky?
They can put lead inside of gold because it's the same weight, and just pretty much gold-plated lead, and just have it there for show, you know? And I think that anybody should be able to walk into Fort Knox and test the gold.
Yeah.
Even walk in there just to see if it's even there.
Especially when they're using government force to maintain their currency, the U.S. Federal Reserve note. You look at out east, they had the Liberty dollar, a silver-backed independent free currency, and the IRS comes in and they're charging them with counterfeiting. So the money looks nothing like a Federal Reserve note, and it was a completely voluntary system.
A county in Michigan started doing that. They said we're done with the Federal Reserve, and they started printing their own money and using it as currency in that county. Personally, I don't see money as having any value. I don't understand the purpose of trading it.
Sure.
I don't understand why we couldn't have kept it like it was in the 1800s. Everybody trades with solid gold and silver. But they took it all away from us and said, here, use this paper. But it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, if you look at why your dollar bill is signed by the Secretary of the Treasury, it's because they owe you that equivalent amount of, you know,
A dollar bill is an
it-
IOU note.
It is an IOU note. And so I would disagree with the statement that the paper money, you know, I'm approaching it as a paper money is just an IOU. It's just a signature. It's just a social contract that you have. But I agree with you that money is not real money anymore. It's a fiat system with fraudulent derivatives. If you look at what the government did with anything from mortgage-backed securities, anything like that, packaging them and assigning real value to them, I think that would be the problem, you know.
I'll look into every point of view in the entire system, you know. A lot of people are here just focusing on, you know, the Federal Reserve. There was out in occupied DC, it was college students going on about outrageous bills for going to school.
Oh, like the Kokesh video, right? Interviewing the girl with the Harvard shirt. Is that what you're talking about? I saw that on YouTube. I saw that on YouTube.
And she's sitting there saying she supports Obama.
Yeah.
There's another guy saying that the government should force itself on
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
I said that's outrageous.
Yeah.
They're missing the whole point of this altogether.
But I tried to have some reservation because maybe that wasn't indicative of the whole thing. And then you look around here, and I believe that it probably was indicative of the whole thing. You know, I think that the way that I see what's going on right now, and the only solution I have is to get rid of the Federal Reserve System and have freedom of currency, because that's the first step for me. Now, a lot of people have other ideas, but what I see these ideas as personally is bigger government solution to a government problem that's already huge. You know, that's the way I see it.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
after that.
Democracy is totalitarianism in this country. We need to get rid of the president, get rid of Democrats, the Republicans, the Green Party, Congress, you know, wipe the slate clean and start over with a system where communities come together as a whole, not just a small group of people and one guy who's in charge who talks to the other guys in charge. We all need to come together and agree on a system as a whole and find solutions that way.
Where the local power should be the most absolute power, stemming from an individual right, their property, their personal body they own.
Yeah.
And then next from that maybe would be the sheriff or county, next from that maybe the city, then the state, and at last would be federal government. The federal system was invited in and out of the states to regulate between the states. They weren't, they should have no jurisdiction to go into California and bust medical marijuana dispensaries.
Exactly.
You know?
They shouldn't have any jurisdiction to come into Minnesota and take it from us. I'm just saying. The lies. Wars are there for the purposes of depopulation, mass ritual sacrifice. I guess I can't say for sure that I know for a fact that most high-level politicians, most high-level congressmen, the elite families, the elite bloodlines, I don't have proof of it, but all the evidence is there to say that they're all involved in satanic ritual sacrifice of humans, of children.
Like Bohemian Grove simulated type stuff where that's what they do for fun. Right.
Bohemian Grove caught a video of them supposedly simulating burning a body, but in the video you could hear a woman's screams as they lit the body on fire. There's evidence of it. There's evidence that they worship Horus, the sun god. They worship owls. You know, you can find their symbolism everywhere. You know, all of that all together, you know, their whole network, we need to bring it down. We need to end our terrorist occupation of the Middle East, because 9/11 was not done by some guy in a cave in the middle of the desert. It was done by CIA, FBI, United States government, you know, whichever one you want to point the finger at. People say 9/11 was an inside job, all that. It was a mass ritual sacrifice, and it was completely orchestrated by the government. Besides, what was it? Dick Cheney even said he did one of those Freudian slips and said that actually caught himself right after it and changed his story. He said a missile hit the side of the Pentagon, and it's on video. George Bush saying that he watched a video of the plane hit the first tower while it was going on that morning, but those videos didn't come out for a week later.
They reported on Building 7 falling when it was still in the background of the newscaster, and then the people that were on the street that were asked later, some of them claimed that they never were there, and then when the footage came out, they said, "Oh, I forgot that I did a piece on." It's like, what kind of field reporter can forget that they did a piece on the street during 9/11? How do you forget that and then go, "Oh yeah, I did do that"?
You can see steel melting down the sides of the buildings before they fall. It is impossible for an airplane to hit that building and melt steel, turn it to liquid. You can see it dripping down the sides of the building. Building number 7, you could see the billboards on the top of it fall down before the building even started coming down. Tell me that's not fucking explosives planted inside of the building before the shit even happened. All the people on ground level saying that they heard explosions going off beneath them before the planes even hit. You know, you can hear explosions in the videos after the first building fell. There's videos where you can watch and you can hear explosions going off. People are running out of the second building, and you can hear the explosions going off in the lobby, you know? And it's for people to say that, you know, it was some terrorist in the Middle East. They've never watched the videos. They've never done the research. They just believed the official story. If you watch any of these videos for longer than a minute, you know, you can have your own proof right there. You know? Personally,
I'm almost as convinced as you on a lot of things that you said, but at the same time, I still hold a lot of reservation. But I will get down to the fact that if this unorganized massive movement comes to terms with something that they're pitched, which they will, whether it comes from the right or the left, both, neither, it'll be financed by the 6 corporate mega banks. There's going to be some sort of national solution, and you and I are probably at the end of the day going to be pissed about it. But the point is we're going to look at it from the framework of everything else they've done. They've either screwed up, tried to keep secret, lied, took money in the forms of injections of capital from the Federal Reserve coming from nowhere, no real production, no real wealth.
And monatomic gold is a substance that's in our brain, and it makes our brain super conductive. People ask why we can only use 10% of our brain. Besides personally, I do believe that we were genetically altered in our past by an alien species.
Sure.
I was talking to
like David Icke. What David Icke talks about, same thing.
David Icke is my hero, man. I love that guy.
Really? All right.
You know, I love all the work he's done. He's just trying to spread peace and love.
I'll tell you what, even if I agree, disagree, whatever, I'll give you that the guy's got complete balls and he's devoted his life to his cause.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So.
I kind of question it, but you know, when it comes down to, he says, why do you think in our embryonic state we look like small lizards? You know, and that pretty much sealed it for me. I was like, you know, that does make sense. Why are we supposed to be apes, but we're small lizards in our embryo state and in our fetal state? You know, I do believe that we were genetically altered by an alien species who, you know, for one reason or the other, made our brains less powerful.
Do you believe in like the Anunnaki stories then, or do you believe it's different, the same thing?
Yeah.
Same Anunnaki stories, yeah.
I actually have a line in one of my songs, and it says, with an ancient Sumerian text, they say the Anunnaki put that S on a chest, the slave pressed when they made flesh, it contained brains that are best from every set and spread their blood through the arcane in every dialect. You know? But they know they can't compete with the oddities that surround me as we stray from the demonic entities that have found these. Witnessing the atrocities is astounded, but we will persevere through the dark with our hearts pounding. You know? You know, it's...
So are we damned either way? And if you feel, because a lot of times I feel like we're damned no matter what happens, and if that's the case, it's kind of like, well, you know, why even try? But then if you don't try, then you go, then I'm wasting my space. I gotta try for something I believe in. So, I guess where do you see yourself there?
If this happened in every city across the country for the next month or two, like how long did the protests last in Egypt? Like weeks. You know, if
well, shoot, yeah,
that was 100,000 people marching at the Capitol. You know. If people come together and stay strong, not just at one time come out, get the message, and then go back to their daily lives. We need to stay strong, you know, have a circulation of people coming out here. Keep this going. Inform everybody of what we're trying to do and what we want to see out of it. And, you know, if people just stick to it, you know, I really think we can change. And, you know, aliens are real. There's no denying it. We're aliens on this planet. Our species does not come from this planet, you know? We were put here. I really do think that we can change, you know, the entire system. Whether it's, you know, bringing down the elites of the world, you know, the Bilderberg groups, the Rockefellers,
there you go,
the royal family, Queen Elizabeth and all of her children, her whole bloodline, you know. Every position of power, like President Obama, back to George Washington, to the kings and queens of Europe, back to Julius Caesar, Alexander the Great, they all share the same bloodline. They never go outside of their bloodline. Even the prince that just got married a couple months ago, that was his cousin he married. You know, you can follow the bloodline back. It's 12 cousins, once removed, I believe it was, but still, you know, they're cousins. They all stay in the bloodline, and that's how they keep it. That's how they keep their positions of power. They want to keep it in power in every aspect across the globe. You know, from the emperor of Japan to the president of the United States, you know, they all share the same bloodline. They're all in the same interconnected network. We need to bring that down. In the video, but there's a video called Dots where it's one tiny dot and the rest of the screen is all different colorful dots, and it's like this one tiny dot is what's controlling.
Yeah, I seen that. I seen that.
Group. How is it that a few families that control the system could stand up to 300,000 people that populate just Minneapolis? Keep at it, you know, we can change. People have been talking about it for years, but until Occupy Wall Street started, nobody wanted to go out and stand out on a street corner and say, end the federal government, end the Federal Reserve System, because they were so worried about being attacked by police officers or being beaten and arrested or being looked down upon by their fellow man for having a view that was against our government and against our Federal Reserve. And, you know, now there's got to be 500 people here right now, you know, and the numbers are only growing. And it's spreading. There, I checked a map online, and there's like 30 different cities in the U.S. already doing it now. It went from what was it, Wall Street to DC to Chicago, LA, San Francisco, Miami, you know.
Right.
Really. And if we come together on a wider scale across the country, you know, they can't, aren't really, yeah, they wouldn't be able to stop our movement.